Okay, I'm in Germany, so guten Tag. I've been coming to Berlin for last 15 years, and more so, I think in last 2 years, I've been here like almost every 1.5 months, that people think that I live here. Yeah, and I love Berlin. And I think 2 days ago, I heard this song, somebody played it to me, this one, Du bist so wunderbar, Berlin. And I just loved it. And I was thinking I should sing it like a little bit, but I think that'll be a bit too much. So my name is Qirti. I'm from Singapore. I run a service design and business innovation consultancy. And we have offices in Singapore, and we have been increasingly working in now India, China, Vietnam, and we have a little studio in Berlin as well. Where is my remote? So I was given instructions, so green is to forward and red is to back. Okay, great. Let me share a slice of my life from Singapore a bit, yeah? So this is my office, it's the shop house, and I come every day for around 6 kilometers from my home to this office on bike. And along the way, there is a river and there is a bridge. And this bridge is a bit wobbly, because on the cycle track it's a bit wobbly. And one day I thought, let me do a thought experiment. And that thought experiment was, if my phone falls down, because this is how I travel. I put my phone on the bike, and it's always like wobbly, and sometimes it falls down on street, but then it's okay. But I thought, if it falls down in the river, what will happen? Because this is our limb, phone is a limb, yeah? And my first thought was, oh my God, my life will come to a standstill. But then I said, oh, wait a minute. Actually not. I will lose a device. It'll cost me $1,400, 1,000 euros. But all my life is in the data, which resides in apps which I use. I use WhatsApp, LinkedIn, so on and so forth. And I've changed, in past 2 years, I've changed many devices, my laptops and phones, without transferring a bit of data. What does this say? What does it say? Anybody? I can pass on the mic. Sorry? Data is in the cloud, yeah? So what does it say? That phone as a product does not matter to me. Laptop as a device does not matter to me. The way I use it, the way I experience it matters more and more. So products will become immaterial. You may not even own a product, but the service and the experience from that service that you gain, that is more and more important. And this is how our world is changing. And this is what we have been doing as a company. We have been working with, we are sector agnostic. We have been working with a lot of different businesses in helping them looking at their businesses, be it processes, culture, operations, brands, from the eye of how your product or service will be consumed by the customer. So this is what we do. Now, this is a shop just below our shop house. This is a bicycle shop, which doesn't exist anymore. 6 months ago, it closed down. Not that, hi, Rainer. Not that, I didn't say hi to him in the morning, so it's a good opportunity. Not that people are using lesser bikes. Rather, there are more people using bikes in Singapore than ever before, but still these shops are closing. Reason? People are not buying bike as a product, they're buying bike as a service. Because now with an app, you can pick up any bike, more bike offer, you pick from here, drop it there, that's about it. And so this uncle who had the shop, he was still doing his work very well. And this is what we do. We do our businesses, or we don't fail because we are bad at our business. We are very good at our business. We fail because we fail to understand what is changing around us, be it customer preferences or technology or market trends or competition, so on and so forth. And this is what happened with this uncle. If you see more examples for Singapore, there used to be these mom and pop stores. Their monopoly was broken by, in a way, there was no monopoly in a way, but they were outcompeted by big store chains. And then a technology company came, Redmart, that started to compete with all the big store chains. And I think this is happening in Germany as well. Get Now is an app which is delivering your groceries at your home. Food companies used to compete with other food companies till the time Food Panda and Deliveroo came. And can you imagine what would a taxi company be doing competing with restaurants? But it is. And what would a book company be competing with restaurants? And this is happening. So it means that competition is coming from, I hope I'm picking my own glass. There's so many. So now competition is coming from everywhere. the point I'm trying to make is the iron rice bowl, which we used to think that is secure, is not secure anymore. Not because your ice bowl has a problem. The problem lies because you may fail to understand what is happening around you. So this is being driven by two big phenomena or trend. This is shaping our world. This is shaping our businesses. I'm not sure whether it's clearly visible. It's servitization and platformization. Have you heard of these two terms? People hear about digitalization, yeah? So servitization, let me kind of just sake of so that we are on the same page, easy definition. Servitization is based on the premise that by integrating services with your products, you can create bundles that are of greater value than products alone. And platformization is a facilitator of interactions, of information, of products and services. And platform does not have any inherent value in itself. Just imagine, what would Twitter or Facebook be of any value if they were not me and you on it? And this is not happening just in food business or retail business. Long ago, General Electric and Rolls-Royce, they started to sell their engines and turbines based not as products, but as services on hour per use, on our like hourly use. Thermostats, like I will not go through these examples in detail, I think you know them. Then camera was a device, phone is a platform. And the key thing in this servitized and platformized economy is how do we make whatever we are doing as frictionless as possible? Just imagine when earlier times you had to fill up all your details about date of birth and so on and so forth, your spouse, to just sign up for email. It was so difficult. Now, if you do that, you won't get any traction. Just email and that's about it. So this is an example of WhatsApp and message. What do you use more? WhatsApp, because it easily compresses picture. Try sending a picture on your SMS. It's so difficult to even upload. We don't use it. That's why WhatsApp, when I look at my iPhone of usage, WhatsApp is the highest, for example. So no industry is untouched by this disruption, and yours could be next. And what happens is every industry will act like a dove. You know, there is a story when dove, when it sees a cat which is about to pounce on it, this dove closes its eyes. It thinks that cat will not pounce, but it does, and dove is no more. So please don't close the eyes. Like you can be making the best mics in the world, but imagine people don't use these kind of mics in the future. You can be making the best pens in the world, but people may not, in the future, millennials may not use the pens, for example. They will be using like different devices. So your company, even if they're a stabilo, for example, they will fail if they don't change with times. So the question is not why must we innovate. I think that innovation is a given. You have to innovate to survive. The question is, how do we innovate? And the problem with innovation, and that's where I'll come to my topic, is that problem starts with mindset. As I think as earlier was said in the talk, in the panel discussion, that innovation is about bringing change in your mind, first of all, before we kind of bring change on ground. So I would like to ask you a question. What kills innovation? Or maybe before that, let's agree on a definition of innovation. So innovation for me is something that is new not to the whole world. You can bring something from China and apply it in Berlin. It is still innovation. It should make things a little bit better, and it should create value for you and for your user or for customer. So with this, my question would be, what kills innovation? You can be loud without a mic. Sorry? If there is no value, that there is no innovation. Okay, what else? Fear of failure. Great, wonderful. Who else? Bureaucracy. Wonderful. Okay, I can go on, but time is short. I have 15 minutes. So I have tried to sum up based on whatever experience I had. There are three things that kill innovation. Or innovation killers can be categorized in three ways. Number one is myopia. This is lack of imagination. We tend to not think beyond the line of actual sight. And this happens in all organizations, and it happens with us as well. Second innovation killer is monkey mind. You know, people think, no, really, people think that we are the best. Like, for example, if me and you have to solve a problem, both of us will sit, intelligent people, will find a solution, and we'll launch into the market. It won't work, because it was just two of us making a solution. So the point here is, this happens a lot in organizations. One monkey jumps, like it's like groupthink, and rest of the monkeys also jump. Yeah? And this is about, and this kind of monkey mind thinking is good because it is about, we make sense of the world by pattern matching. For example, I know that if I'm hungry, I don't have to eat this mic. I have to go out and eat something because that's how my brain has been trained. This kind of mindset is good for our day-to-day life, making sense of day-to-day world. But this kind of mindset doesn't work when it comes to innovate because there we have to break the patterns. And third innovation killer is inertia. Inertia is like, you tend to be in a state that you're in. And not just people, but large organizations have also this inertia, and they have all the smart people, but still they fail to act. You remember this brick phone, if you're my age? Yeah? This used to be a brick phone which was very good because it was serving a purpose of utility. Now, I don't have to go there, pick up my phone, and stand there for 10 minutes while I'm talking. I can take that phone and walk around. Yeah? This was good for utility purpose. But from usability perspective, it wasn't working. That's where Ericsson, as a phone maker, failed. Of course, the company is still alive and thriving, doing something else. Then Nokia came because they saw how people would like to use a phone. They looked at the usability aspect of it. But they also tanked. Why? Okay, I'm trying to simplifying it, but why they fail? Because they fail to see the trend that now people don't just use their desktops, but they also use their laptops, and they're used to having email on the go. That's where this company came. But they also tanked. The point is, Ericsson was making the best phones, Nokia was making best usable phones, BlackBerry was best in what they were doing, but they were failing to look at what was changing around. Not just in terms of technology, but in terms of consumer preferences, in terms of not technology, in terms of coming up with new technologies, but how to put different technologies together and create something new. They saw another change in behavior. You have a camera. How do I share? There is so much of digital pictures. And this is where they created a convergence device. I don't know what they're doing now, but like hopefully they do something new as well again. So the problem is we become victim of our own boxes. And if you've always thought you have always, if you always think you have always thought, you will always get what you have always got. So there are 3 innovation killers. So once we know that there are 3 innovation killers, and you are able to put all the things in these categories, then it is easy to address them. So myopia, which is about lack of imagination, monkey mind, which is jumping into solutions, and inertia is fear of failure. Now we know what are innovation killers, so it is easy to address them, as I said. So you need to learn to look at things differently. You need to learn to think about solutions differently, and you need to learn to make things differently. When I say look at things differently, how can we examine the problem from different perspectives? Not just from your company or business perspective, but from consumer preference perspective, from technology perspective, from market trends perspective, from competition perspective. The point is that you should look at the problem from more perspective than yours. Second is, how can we think different? How can we bring users into your discussion, not just like think and create solutions yourself. And how we can make things differently, which is about how can we make with the users, test, iterate, so on and so forth. So it's a very simple framework, but it works, and most great things are simple. So we have kept it look, think, make, I call it, and look, understand things from different perspectives, co-ideate with the users, and co-make with the users. Again, I think Lars was talking about the Singapore mindset, and I think this is everywhere is the same in a way. When kids are growing up and your kids, they want to do different things, they want to play in mud, and you will say, cannot, yeah? And then when this kid grows up, and this happens in Singapore and in Asia perhaps much more, when kid is in school, now you want to play, not study maths or science, and you ask like, can I go and have more play time? Answer you get from teacher is cannot. And then when you grow up, you start to go to college. And like my son, for example, he loves to beatbox, he plays guitar, and like, actually my mindset is also same. Like if you ask me and like wants to make a career in beatboxing, like, you know, you're also good at psychology, why don't you study that? So I'm not talking about engineering, but at least psychology. So my answer would be like, cannot. And when this person comes into work, and Berlin Senate says, be innovative, be creative. Singapore government says, be innovative, be creative. What answer will you get? Cannot. So I feel innovation is, as Rose pointed earlier, innovation is more about can mindset. And innovation starts in your mind before it takes any other shape. So you have, that's why we talked about innovation killer. It's more about psychology of innovation rather about the technique of innovation. So you have to learn to, you have to have this can mindset and have these three look, think, make in every step of the innovation process that you do. I love this picture because if you see this man knew how to make a wheel. This was the skill. Just imagine if he didn't have imagination to make a cart out of it, none of us would be here. So we have used imagination for past 30, 40,000 years to solve a lot of problems in the world, and I'm sure we can solve, with imagination, the problems that we have now as well. So you need imagination to shape the future. You have to think beyond what you're doing today and imagine what you could do tomorrow, and then you will get ideas to shape the future. So of course, for innovation mindset, you need imagination. But before that, you need two more things. And one thing is about humility. First of all, you have to be humble to be aware of what is the problem. Do we have a problem with ourselves or somewhere else? So humility is very important, and awareness about what the problem is. And second, you need to have compassion. Who are we trying to solve the problem for? Once you have that, then imagination comes into play. And none other than Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has demonstrated all these three: humility, compassion, and imagination to make a business case. Microsoft just crossed $1 trillion as a mark. So I think compassion, humility, and imagination works. Thank you so much.